Welcome to the Relish Lifestyle podcast. We've been busy the last couple of weeks. I've had a Portuguese trip, bom dia, and you've been having a right royal time. So we've actually got a bit of a jam-packed agenda.
Yeah, we have. No, we have. There's been lots going on.
Yeah.
Totally. So your trip to Portugal,
Yeah.
that was great. You went for what, 10, 12 days, something like that?
Yeah, 10 days in the end. Yeah, it was really good actually to do that. Obviously, we love it there, having had Christmas there, and I've been separately and we've been going for years.
But you went to Porto, didn't you, this time?
Yeah.
And there were some specific events that you kind of went to.
So one of my dearest friends had a art exhibition in a gallery. So I was there for his opening evening, which was really good. But also there were just some food places and different places I hadn't been to before to go and see. Also, I've been lucky enough to go to Porto. This is my third time. But it's obviously just good to go to different parts of it and stay in a different area. Because I think everyone wants that view, of the Douro, and you see all the port houses on the south bank.
Yeah, they are lovely, yeah.
And then you've obviously got the old kind of more cobbled, steep streets, which does make me laugh because every Portuguese city I go to seems to be built on 300 different hills. I mean, they do call Lisbon is actually called the city built on 7 hills, I think. But it's all very steep and very winding. But actually, yeah, I did some other bits which were good.
Actually, just thinking about that, Charlie, I guess that was a fortification because when we travel the length and breadth, driven through Portugal, there's huge swathes of it that are very flat because it's very agricultural, isn't it? It's not all. I mean, I know there are obviously quite a lot of hills, like you've said, but when we went to Evora at Christmas, we drove for a very long time and it was flat in valleys, didn't we? And then suddenly Evora was this wonderful little medieval town exactly.
But I think there is a fortification thing, but it's probably also where resources and settlements had kind of been.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It's built around it. But I guess, interesting enough, obviously the two biggest cities in Portugal are both on riverbanks and both on the north side.
Of course, yeah.
So, I mean, obviously because they were a seafaring nation before we were. So their history.
Yes, they were. And trading.
The navigators.
Weren't they? The navigators. That is an amazing sculpture, isn't it?
But yeah, Porto is a different vibe to Lisbon. Obviously, it's slightly more moderate in temperature as well, though you do still get fluctuations of temperature, but it's cooler because you're just that bit further north. But yeah, this time I stayed sort of out of what I would call old Porto.
Yeah, the centre.
And was more, but then I was kind of in the centre of the city rather than being in the centre of the historic.
Yeah, I get it, yeah.
But I did stay with my friend for a couple of days and he's more in the historic part. And then I spent some time in the non-historic part. And it was just good to spend time in a different part of the city.
Yeah. But then you travelled out and about, didn't you?
So I went up to Braga, which is, I believe, the third largest city. I haven't been there before. So it's about 45 minutes to an hour from Porto on the train. And it's sort of last of the line. So you get there and it's sort of the end terminus.
What did you think of that?
Really like Braga.
Yeah.
Probably went in at like a top 10 city I've been to.
Oh.
It was just very compact.
Yeah.
Very historic. But just really well kind of kept.
Oh, so maintained and looked after.
Yeah, to me it felt like that.
Yeah. Well, good.
And all manageable, walkable, but still lots of things to go and see. And then one of the famous things there, which I have to say I had seen on, social media, but also on television, the Michael Portillo when he goes to Portugal, he goes to Bom Jesus do Monte, which is this amazing. It's in the sort of hills/mountains on the outskirts of Braga, but it's this sort of amazing kind of stepped, lots of steps at crisscross, and then you've got a cathedral at the top.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I went sort of in the evening, so you've got a bit of sun and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I love it.
But yeah, amazing place. I mean, obviously any church or cathedral in most of Europe seems to be well adorned with gold leaf.
Well, I think they have so much history apart from anything.
Amazingly, though, the kind of scene, I mean, I'm not going to profess to understand everything that's in and out of the Bible or any of that, or Catholicism, I should say. But the actual scene over the altar was like a relief. So it wasn't a painting; it was actual like figurines. I don't know, but it
models.
but it was beautiful. I mean, old and beautiful, but I'd never seen that before. So the scene was actually kind of almost, well, it was 3D. So incredible. And then, yes, I did the walk down, not up. I have to be honest. I think back in the day, people walked up the steps as like a penance/pilgrimage. Like on their hands and knees. It was like that.
God.
A bit like doing, anything.
And of course, they wouldn't have had nice, comfortable trainers.
No. Or any shoes, probably. But yeah, so amazing place and really brilliant. And it's really slightly geeky, but it's got I think it's the only one in the world. It's a funicular powered by water. So you have, so so basically there's two of them and they run past each other. And what happens is when one's at the top, it's slowly being filled up with natural like spring water. But of course, what happens is when they take the brake off, it counters. So the weight of that one pulls the other one up. And so it counterbalances.
So is there any other form of propulsion or is it just water?
No, I think it's purely water and a strong brake.
You know how old that is?
No.
So it's probably Victorian times. But what I'm thinking is that's such a great, I mean, you think about that, sustainability.
Yeah.
Using the natural water.
Well, because you're on a mountainside, there's obviously natural springs.
Yeah.
I presume they've channeled the natural spring. But amazingly, what happens is that when it gets heavy, because you've got people and the water, it's heavy enough to pull the other one with people in it up, and then obviously gets rid of its water at the far end.
How fantastic!
Yeah.
Is it incredibly slow?
No, I know it rumbled along. I mean, it wasn't like it's not like an intercity.
No, but it wasn't like like.
Well, it's faster than HS2. Sorry, I shouldn't get political.
We're not going to see that for a very long time.
No.
Now it's going into billions and billions.
More likely, it's got a high-speed train they're building one from Madrid to Lisbon. So it will go through the centre of, actually, I don't know what region of Spain that would be, but it goes, I guess it would be north of Grenada or whatever. Grenada. And then it will cross through from Madrid, literally straight across. Fun enough, possibly stopping at Ahora where we went to.
Oh, we did talk about that, didn't we?
And then going on to Lisbon, because at the moment there's no high-speed rail connection between the two countries.
Oh, that would be great. They really need to do that.
And actually, the motorway, it's not, direct either, but apparently it might happen. So yes, Braga was brilliant. Saw some great things. Also did a bit of a gelados trip. So we know we like ice cream on holiday.
Oh yeah. So where was your favourite?
So I went to this one called Abraga Dabra. Has a really nice, really traditional Italian gelatos. So in those small kind of cylindrical urns rather than big multicoloured dishes.
That's you don't want the big plastic
like the ones
tubs.
we had when we went to Borough Market.
Yeah.
Where did we go? I forgot what it was called.
We might have to go back to another podcast because we did talk about it.
Anyway, it was that kind of thing. That's terrible.
It's Alain Ducasse.
Yeah. That's it, of course it is.
I do remember, yeah.
It was very nice. So I went there and I also went to the local food market, which was so I went up on a Thursday and then funny enough, the next day was Labour Day. So it's like a kind of bank holiday, I guess, for them. And I went to no, I tell a lie, sorry, I went up on the Friday for Labour Day. So it was all very busy, lots going on. And there was lots of chimes and bell towers going off. Like my apartment that I was staying in looked over this amazing kind of abbey with this garden, beautiful. And then I went, the next day was obviously market day, Saturday morning. So I went to this market.
There's something lovely about we still, well, across the globe probably, but we still use bells.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something, I mean, in some countries, but I love it when you hear the bells.
Well, Westminster Abbey always does.
Yeah, but even, isn't it, locally around here? But also I was just thinking when you said that, that in Europe, they use the bells to sort of celebrate or to announce or message or something. It's just such a fantastic thing, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a nice sound.
Or a warning.
Yeah.
Always a warning as well.
But so I went to that market, which I did do some posts on. But again, just an abundance of your citrus. Interesting horticulture. So there was a lot of plants being sold.
Oh, right, okay.
And onions.
Is that garden plants, Charlie?
Yeah, it seemed to be.
Yeah.
But like outdoor, I would say.
Yeah. So not pot plants.
No,
living in
definitely
apartments
larger horty than pot plant. Onions, citrus, quite a lot of nuts and dried, goods. But what I quite liked is it was quite modern inside. You've seen the photos. The ceiling was all quite modern.
Yeah, it was.
And what was quite nice, it was staggered. So it kind of you went in at the bottom, but it was kind of like a semicircle, and it got slightly higher each time. And then round the edge one edge was the taleo, which is butchers, and then you had the fishmongers, and so it was all kind of quite well laid out, but very busy, which I guess it's a national holiday the day before would be. But again, just a lovely experience.
And I just love the fact that markets like that are still
exist.
Well, not just still exist, but they're so important in Europe. And particularly in Portugal and stuff like that, at Christmas when we would just, we were down on the Algarve, but it was a fishing village. And for them, they had wonderful little shops, but their big thing was the fish market, which was incredibly important. And when you saw them on Christmas Eve, hundreds and hundreds, if not 1,000 people just getting their fish. And it was just so, and, we have been in Greece and Portugal and all these places where the market, and it sounds to me like, in Braga, that they had obviously spent time in actually recreating or, rebuilding that market, but in a very modern way. But you've still got the authenticity of the market.
There was obviously, I think the other thing, I know it sounds silly, but there was also what I would call like infrastructure that you need. So there was like places to have coffee or lunch. There's toilets. They've made it so it's accessible for more than, a few people.
Yeah.
It becomes much more easy to take a family there and do your shopping if it's all there.
I know. I think we don't do markets.
No.
We used to many years ago when you bought your livestock and you bought everything, you went to a market. It was, but now we don't really do markets.
I think the
like that.
Supermarkets have taken.
I know, it's a shame.
But
tell me about one. I want to hear about the brush shop.
Oh yeah, so again on Michael Portillo's Portugal, he goes to this brush shop and weird. I don't know what sort of. I'd seen the image, obviously, was in my head of this brush shop. I'd seen it on television. And then one day I was walking back to my friend's apartment and I'd been, reaching around, probably having another ice cream somewhere. And suddenly I sort of walked past this little shop on a cobbled street and it's literally just a doorway. And I was like, I literally did, it was almost slightly comical. I walked past it and then I had to do a step back and look in and go, I've seen this on television.
Oh.
And it's an amazing little shop. And basically the workshop is at the back and there's a little, shop at the front. But they sell every type of brush and comb.
But right. Yeah. So we're not talking artists' brushes.
No. Well, to be honest, I'm not sure. I don't think they did. I could be wrong. So I don't want to say yes or no. They're famous for shaving brushes.
Right. Okay.
That's, I think, what Portillo supposedly makes. And then they do so anything that needs some sort of brush,
sweeping brush.
And also, so I obviously, because of luggage restrictions as well, and actually I don't like shave, so I bought a little like flat comb. They don't actually have one, but it's dual-sided, and it's just a little memento of my trip to Portugal. And I said to the guy, oh my god, I've seen this on television, and he was like, oh yeah, Portillo was here. So it was brilliant. And the other shop I can't remember what it's called. I can't remember that one either, which is terrible of me. But the other one is a little leather shop, which I've been to before. And this guy literally, again, is a little doorway and he just sells like small leather goods. So mainly belts. And he just has a big kind of wooden dresser behind this wooden counter. And it's just every sort of shade of leather you can imagine. And then he just pulls out a size that he thinks might fit you. And invariably it does. He's a very talented chap. But it's all made there and it's incredibly good value for a leather belt. So I did buy a new one there.
Well, Portugal was renowned for its leather work and its shoes. Particularly. Yeah. Shoes, bags, all that. So, Portugal, we always think of cork.
But cork trees have
to be really looked after now, so it's not quite the same. But but leather definitely. And I remember many years ago going to Portugal, and you would go to a market, or even what would have been called the main street, and the shoe shops.
Oh yeah,
with belts, handbags, and everything would have been so prolific.
As well.
Yeah, but any kind of shoe, and it was all leather, all made there.
I know,
but that's all been well commercialized now, and they've been
Russ and Bomb used to make shoes in Portugal,
subsumed, I think, into other brands.
But it's again, it was just nice to be in that culture, like you said. The food, I do like the sort of morning culture they have, which is the sort of, they're not always a pasta donata. I think that's a bit stereotypical, but a lot of them still do. And they have pasta donata, and they have...
Well, it's a bit like the French and the croissants. Yeah, they're not always eating croissants.
And then they have their little, which I've now known is called a pingo, which is a little coffee, which is sort of a shot of your espresso and then milk on top. And it's quite short, so it's kind of like an espresso with milk, but obviously it's called pingo in Portugal. And they have one of those and a little pastry, and then that's their breakfast. And these sort of little bars are set up just for that. And I love it. It's very reasonable as well. I did go to the Time Out Market, the new one that's in Porto.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's smaller. It's next to the São Bento train station, which is, if you remember, is that amazing? The tiles.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
It's next to that. So it's obviously old sidings that weren't being used anymore. And they've made it into, it's a different experience to the Lisbon one. It's not as big.
And that is incredibly when you go into the Lisbon one.
Now it's so touristy, but this one's still finding its feet. There's a lot of little nice shops. It's on 2 levels, really nice, really well done. And then I went up to a place which I've got to try and pronounce on the tube, or I should say metro, called Matinhos, which is basically north of Porto. It's about half an hour on the metro. I've pronounced that appallingly. I'm going to have messages on
It's all right. We're going to write it up. We'll write it up.
Matinhos. But it's the shushing I've got to... Anyway. They have it's basically a fishing port. So there's other stuff comes in, but I went to the fish market, and they literally have a market in the middle again, and then restaurants around the outside. And I had some mussels there in a place called, funny enough, Mercado Food and Drink.
Oh, did you have the mussels or the oysters?
Oysters, I meant, sorry.
I was going to say, I thought you sent me pictures of oysters.
No, oysters. Had oysters, and then I walked along the port, which, like anywhere, it's not the most glamorous place you walk.
It's always quite smelly normally.
Yeah, but they had all these little, again, small restaurants almost on the pavement. But then they had these in the road, or where a parking space would be. They had these kind of additional, I don't know how to describe it, almost like a conservatory. It's the only way I can describe it.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then at one end of the conservatory, on the outside, was the barbecue where they were doing the prawns and the sardines. So you'd walk along the street and you'd turn, and there'd be a man or woman cooking on charcoals. But obviously the people inside were separate from. But it was kind of, if you imagine you're walking along a pavement, and instead of a car, you've kind of got a little restaurant on the outside.
Pop-up type thing.
But it was consistent. It wasn't just one. And they were obviously there for, they weren't temporary.
Ah.
Anyway, so that was a nice waft. And then I had another gelato in a place called Neva Gelatos, which actually does come from Italy. And then for obviously various reasons, they've got 2 shops, one in Porto, one in Lisbon, but they obviously have one in, I think it's Turin in Italy. They've won awards for their ice cream. And I had one, and I think it's the salted, I think it's burnt caramel, has won an award. Anyway, again, it was delicious. But I was very lucky with the weather. So actually, though I'm joking about having ice creams, it was actually quite a nice pit stop refreshment in the afternoon.
Well, I think it's something that we discovered. I don't particularly, and we've discussed this before, I don't particularly eat ice cream.
No.
It's too sweet. But when you go away and you get what I call proper gelato, that's not made out of powder.
Or brightly coloured.
Yeah, or brightly coloured. And especially the Alan Ducasse, as you say, if it comes in those little metal drums, that's what you want to go for. The minute it's in those big
So both the ones I had, the ones in Braga Dabra and Neva in Matichos, they were little drums. And I have to say, I think I had pistachio as well in this Neva one. And it was just...
Oh, wow.
Unctuous. I'm going to use my word.
You're going to use...
But it wasn't like bright green either. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't fake.
No.
And it was yummy. And I was warm. I'd done a lot of walking, so I felt like I earned it.
Yeah, no, it's good.
So
it's good when you find this. And it's amazing that, from Italy. No, I'd have to look it up, actually, the true history of ice cream.
Well, the cultural...
Yeah, but the fact that probably pizza and ice cream are the two things that have really, like...
Well, I think also because America has embraced those two things as well.
Yeah.
It becomes synonymous.
But unfortunately, they don't always cook it to the quality that you want it.
No.
Or produce it to the quality you want it, so...
But, it is what it is.
Oh,
but yeah, so I had a...
Fab trip.
It was fab.
So art, food... Checking out new places, new locations.
I think I've covered everything off. I can't really do anything else. Just some amazing
Porto.
Weather.
And actually, this time you didn't hire a car, and you normally like a car, but you managed to get wherever you did.
I should say also, I went down to a place called Espinho, which is just south, like 20, 25 minutes south of Porto, and it's big beaches, but it's obviously a town that has also other things going on, but it has these amazing sandy beaches just literally south of Porto.
Oh, wow.
I think it was just because I thought actually because I haven't got the car, I'm going to sort of go and do these trips on the...
Yeah.
And actually, I have to be honest, I don't want to keep banging on about it. There's incredibly good value to travel by metro.
Yeah.
I think it was €2.
Wow.
25 minutes.
So the beaches, were they surfing beaches?
Not as much so. No, I know.
Yeah.
No, they had a big beach up in Matichos, and they had wide sandy beaches, and then they had this other one down in Espinho. So I did actually manage to sit on the beach for a couple of hours, which was lovely.
Yeah.
But then I went back up, but I actually got off a couple of stops early, and I did a kind of tried to do a non-tourist route through the back of the port houses. So it's all kind of windy and cobbledy, and there wasn't actually that many people.
No.
Though it is amazing now, probably because of the food, the wine, but also because of how much television and social media there is around Portugal, how much more touristy it was this time than even when we were. It's become just a destination.
Well, I think kind of in some respects, Spain kind of burnt itself out a little bit, and then Portugal was this new up and coming place. So it's taken a while. So,
but they're obviously doing a lot of work in that city.
But it's great. It's great for the country.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And let's hope it doesn't get too spoiled.
No, but you can see they're also investing in infrastructure. There's 2 new metro lines going in.
Yeah.
There's new bus routes all the time. Obviously, certainly you can't move around in a historic city part. But certainly where I was, there's a lot more space to be able to do these things. So yeah, no, it was a great trip.
Oh, fantastic.
You've also had a nice trip up to town.
Well, yes, I was very lucky.
Yeah.
Invited again, I have to say, but to help celebrate the King's Trust 50th anniversary.
You've done that quite a long time. Well, Prince's Trust, now King's Trust.
Yeah, no. I've been doing it for, not far off, 20 years probably, mentoring and being involved in it. And I was very lucky to be involved in the 40th anniversary. And then this year's the 50th. And of course, he's the king this time. So
King's Trust.
But so to go to a garden party, absolutely fantastic. I mean, the weather was a little... one did need to take an umbrella and try and take a scarf. I mean, you had to sort of cover off all eventualities. But they are amazing things to go to. The gardens of Buckingham Palace are beautiful. You have there's 2 sort of bandstands. And what's lovely about one for the King's Trust is it's smaller and it was only the king. And it is only people that are involved in the King's Trust, unlike the other garden parties, which can be up to 8,000 people and are a cross section of people being thanked or honoured or whatever. This is very, very specific. So there were lots of things going on, and there were some of the people who have gone through the Prince's Trust there. There were obviously a lot of celebrities and a lot of celebrity ambassadors, which is great to see if you can spot any.
Did you spot anyone?
Oh yeah, there was quite a few. I mean, Idris Elba he does a lot, and he was actually supported by the Prince's Trust.
Okay, yeah.
There were people like Brian May, of course, good old Sir Rod Stewart.
Yeah.
And then I know one of the people that you absolutely adore, Joan Collins. And then you get a lot of TV stars. So they're a real cross section, and you get people that were also. I did meet some people that they fund, so they have trust funds.
Oh, like the investors almost.
Well, they could invest, or they have trust funds that give to the King's Trust. Because
nice thing
if it wasn't for people that donated, and those of us that volunteer, there wouldn't be a King's Trust.
No, that's very true.
And up to date, we've probably not, helped around not shy of about 1.5 million young people. So it's been incredible. So that was wonderful. And of course, you have lots going on. And this time, I actually got to have a little chat, all very briefly, with the King himself. So he was doing an amazing thing where he was meeting lots of people and sort of coming across the crowds and stuff like that. And because there are a lot of people there, but there weren't 8,000 people there.
No.
But Charlie, I just wanted to share because I just suddenly thought about garden parties. Now, obviously, garden parties, I don't know if you knew, but they started around 1860.
Oh, wow.
And it was Queen Victoria, and it was more about the debutantes coming out. Okay, and meeting society.
Coming out. And
get this, they were called breakfasts then, but they were still held in the afternoon.
Sometimes people say a wedding breakfast. Is that the same thing?
Kind of, but I think wedding breakfasts.
No, I just
quite often people did get married in the morning and they had a breakfast and then they went off on their honeymoon or whatever.
Maybe that's
unlike today, when wedding lasts for about 4 days. Anyway, I just thought that was quite interesting because I was thinking, and then I think really what happened is you had the wars.
Oh yeah.
And so then it was much more about thanking and celebrating servicemen and women. And then it kind of grew from there.
I also imagine probably as we came out of war, there was sort of a slight pressure to be a bit more like open about what was happening in terms of the monarchy and royalty.
Oh, yes.
All that kind of
stuff. So once we got to the 1950s and our Queen, they increased. They originally had 2 a year.
Right.
Then it went to 3 a year. And really, instead of just attended by debutantes, you're absolutely right, or service personnel. They were a way of rewarding people for their positive contribution to their community. So it was a fantastic thing. And I having been very lucky to go to a Queen's garden party and the one I went to last week was specific. So it's very much just the King doing his thing. But it was fantastic.
Did you eat anything?
Yes, of course you have tea.
Of course you do.
And they do it.
Not a breakfast.
No. It is a tea, and they do it. It's spectacular the way they do it, and it's oh my gosh, it's so beautifully done. And what's incredible, I love the fact you get an oblong tea plate, Charlie, or a rectangular. Sorry, not an oblong, a rectangular tea plate, and you have a little indentation, and that's where you put your cup.
Oh yeah.
And then you can put your.
You can walk around with it.
Yeah, and then you can put your little sandwich. So you're not trying to hover around with a cup and saucer.
We should all learn from this, buffets and picnics.
Yeah, and it's all beautifully done. It's all white china. Everything is laid out, so you kind of go in, beautiful marquees, and then you kind of go in, and it's. I can't tell you, everyone is dressed beautifully. You have beef eaters, the whole thing.
Cool.
And the tea itself is obviously not done in tiers.
No,
it's laid out. But you do get your
selection.
Beautiful sandwiches. I noticed this time they had like little wraps. Okay. I think they've just upgraded it slightly.
Also people, I know it's difficult, but gluten intolerant. All that
yeah, absolutely. And then all the little sweet things are small, so they're quite bite sized, but they're very generous. People can go back and have.
You can have as much as you pile it up.
Pretty much. I mean,
did you put any in your handbag?
No, because you know me and tea.
I know.
So I did after standing around, because actually this May has been a little chilly. We were all ready to get in undercover and have a couple of cups of tea and a few little beautiful, gorgeous things. So that was lovely.
That's good.
So it was a very proud moment.
Yeah.
And I was also pleased that some of my mentees were there.
Yeah, well, that's the point, isn't it? In a way, to support them and to
big
visible.
time. And it was amazing because there's several that are ambassadors that have come, and I've had the opportunity to work with them. So that was lovely. But anyway, I wanted to talk about tea because I know that there's National Tea Biscuit Day and also British Sandwich Week coming up.
It's already here. We're in.
We're in Sandwich Week.
Sorry.
Okay, so what I hadn't realised, Charlie, is when you go for afternoon tea, you get that wonderful three-tiered plate. That actually, I hadn't really appreciated this, but the bottom bit is the savoury bit, where you have your cucumber sandwiches or whatever. And then the middle bit is normally for scones, particularly. And I don't know if there could be like a tea cake in there or something. And then the top bit is your little sweet treats, like your little mini fruit tarts or whatever, little
petit fours or
macarons, that kind of thing.
Very British.
I was just thinking we've had a few high teas over the years.
I guess they are. Yeah, I suppose that does sort of make sense in the way it's tiered and how maybe it comes as well. And also maybe you start with your sandwich and then move up to get to sweeter.
And also they're smaller, I suppose. And I also was thinking about the old cucumber sandwiches. So at the garden party, you definitely had cucumber sandwiches. There was some egg sandwiches, and I think there's some smoked sandwich. I didn't eat many of the sandwiches, but I had to have a cucumber sandwich.
Of course. Because
I think they might gently pickle them, the cucumber. But when I looked up a proper cucumber sandwich, and I don't know if you knew this, but it should be on white bread, thin slices of cucumber, and normally you peel the skin, so you don't have a skin. And then what you do is you salt it, a bit like you would an aubergine or a courgette.
Draw the moisture out
for about 20 minutes, and then you pat it dry. And then the mixture is not butter. It should be cream cheese mixed with herbs, fresh herbs, and a little bit of fresh mayonnaise. So but you don't. It's not runny.
More to it than just
and then you lay the cucumber, and then it's not
such a sandwich soggy as well.
Yeah, it's not just butter and a bit of cucumber.
Because that's what I find with any sandwich. Obviously, I know I don't like tomato, but it always makes the bread then saggy.
No. So
I had a question to ask you. Are you Cornish or Devon?
Oh, scone or scone?
No.
Oh,
no. Yeah.
Oh, you're going to say cream or jam or cream?
Yeah.
I would put the jam on first. So I'd say butter, jam, cream.
Okay, so you're Cornish.
Right.
So if you do cream first.
And then jam. Seems a bit weird.
I would have done it that way around.
I wouldn't put jam on top of cream.
I would. That's how I would do it.
Why? Splodge it all out.
No, but that's how I would think the cream is kind of the base and then you put a bit of jam on top.
No, I'd say the jam definitely goes on top of butter and then you put some cream on.
Well, more fat.
Can I say the ones at the garden party were lovely? So they were tiny, like little bite size. So they were round, and then what they'd done is they piped cream on the outer bit, and then put a wonderful dollop of jam just right. But it was already on there. I think maybe they put the jam right in the middle, and then just piped a little bit of cream around the outside. But it was just enough to give you a bit of flavour.
That sounds
sweetness, but without sugar. Anyway, so that's. But teas. So we've got the old British sandwich. So smoked salmon, I guess.
Yeah.
Cucumber, egg, mayonnaise. That's one of my favourites.
Yeah, but it won't be what people buy.
No, we've talked about this before, haven't we?
Prawn mayonnaise.
Yeah, when you worked in the sandwich industry.
So
what was it called?
Yeah.
Was it a sandwich?
For Marks and Spencer.
Sorry, I need a sip of water.
But yeah, we had lots of different sandwiches. But
it's prawn mayonnaise, isn't it? One of the
prawn mayonnaise BLT.
I never like. I mean, because the bacon is always
not my
horrible,
thing either.
Soggy, chewy.
But they will still be probably. I would imagine some of the top sellers.
Wow.
Let's see. Who knows what's changing?
Wow.
So yeah, but also what is quite nice with tea is. Did you have any actual a cup of tea?
Yes, and you get offered it's English breakfast tea or China tea, and then there were other things like I think there was a herb tea and I think there was some soft drinks. I actually did, and Charlie, the tea was served out of beautiful silver urns.
Yeah, it sounds Nice way of doing it.
Oh, it was absolutely glorious. Yeah, so an amazing trip. I'm very privileged to have been invited. So, yes. So anyway, biscuit week. So what's your favourite biscuit?
Well, I was asked, wasn't I, on
oh yes,
The Great Taste, which was on TikTok and Instagram. They asked me what my top 5 were, but I didn't know what the 5 options were going to be before I answered. So I had to score them and then go, I would put that higher or lower.
Okay.
So I can't say they were actually my favourite was in there, I don't think. Do you know what I like? It's a dark chocolate digestive.
Yeah.
I'd like that, again, because it's not too sweet.
Yeah.
I like that. I also like the hobnob. I like the oatiness of it.
Well, those two are one of the top sellers in the UK. And actually it's the milk chocolate digestive.
Yeah, I would think that.
And of course, along with things like rich tea, custard creams, chocolate fingers.
Bourbon
is still high up there. I don't know, it didn't come up when I Googled that one.
I used to like the chocolate.
But I then, Charlie, Googled what is the best-selling worldwide.
Oh, yeah.
And it's an Oreo biscuit.
Oh, yes. Because you split them, tear. People have different ways of eating them.
Well, and of course,
twist them apart.
Quite American. Yeah, but they've gone global. But I didn't know they date right back to 1912, the Oreo biscuit.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't looked up any more than that.
It's prolific now because it's used in chocolate bars, Oreo. I mean,
and ice
creams, all sorts.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
I think because it's owned by one particular company. I think it's Mondelez, which owns Cadbury's, but I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right. I think
I think they own all these things, and obviously then they use them across different.
Apparently, there was one thing that came up and it said the Jaffa cake quite often comes up as one of the top biscuits, but of course in European legislation it's a cake, not a biscuit.
Well, it's the whole VAT.
It's still very, very popular.
It's a VAT thing.
Yeah, I know, but it's random.
But it took it. I think.
But you wouldn't dunk it, would you?
No, but there's that VAT thing. No. Well, some people might. I don't know. Tell us what's your preference. But there was this the VAT rule, because I think cake is a luxury item and a biscuit isn't. And there's this whole thing, it's about arguing whether it's more biscuit or not. It's like Pringles. They had this thing
where... I would have thought biscuits are the truth.
They argued whether there was more potato or fat in them. And if they got the more fat in them, it didn't pay VAT. It's this whole thing about what band you're in.
Very confusing.
So that's why.
But what I did have to look up is apparently in India, one of the most bought biscuits is something called a Pal G. But of course, it's really, really popular. It's iconic in India. And it's a glucose-based biscuit. And it's only mildly sweet and it's crunchy. And they absolutely love it. And when you look it up, there's a still funny chart. It looks like the branding is still in the 1950s.
50s. Right.
Or something like that. But apparently that is a real, iconic biscuit in India.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, biscuits, I think, are very popular. And also, I do think biscuits are one of those things where, someone comes around tea and biscuit, it's kind of an easy group. You can chat and literally hobnob over a cup of tea.
I know. Well, that's it. So, celebration.
Yeah.
So, I thought we'd do a quick, as we're in the summer, and I've got a profusion of mint growing.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit about mint as our ingredients focus today. It cultivated 3,500 years ago, so another one of those really old ones. Started off, of course, mainly medicinal.
Yeah.
And I think, Charlie, it was because of its wonderful smell and taste. People used it because it counteracted so many things.
Yeah, and I think also probably there was a lot of other smells.
Yeah, exactly.
That needed
and bad breath.
It was a bit like lavender in France, wasn't it?
That was and because of that, it's become one of the most cultivated herbs. Because as you've just said, it's in toothpaste.
Yeah.
It's in perfume or fragrance of some description. It's in, obviously we use it for foodstuffs, but it's in other things that we eat. They add mint, don't they? I mean, it's in so many things. I was thinking probably in aerosols and candles and...
Oh God, yeah.
It really is. I mean...
Well, I would probably say second to lemon. It's probably the most widely, or maybe lavender, but they must be the top 3, surely. Because even teas and flavours of things.
I know. But I have to say, I love it this time of year because it's still, what's the word, green and fresh. The leaves haven't gone too hard. But you think how many things you can use it in.
I know.
Good old mojito.
Yeah,
Charles.
obviously. Livens up a cocktail.
And I was thinking about going back to India as well. Chutneys.
Yep.
Mint and coriander chutney.
All mint sauce.
Mint sauce. Freshly made, we're talking about.
They like anything. And then fresh mint tea. Used to like that.
Oh, I still love that. But I love mint because you can add it to normal tea.
Yeah.
Just any tea.
I mean, I think it's delicious.
I'll tell you another one, and that is grilled, or not grilled, but sort of griddled, with butter. Oh, that's a bit naughty. But if you do slices of pineapple griddled with brown sugar, rum.
Oh, yeah, you've done that. Yeah.
Rum, and you then sprinkle fresh mint on it.
But what I quite like with mint, actually, is it's a bit like me going back to my favourite tarragon, is the fresh herb, cultivated herb, is delicious in its own right. But the dried herb, though it's obviously from the same plant, has a very different flavour profile in certain aspects.
Yeah.
I would say, the fresh mint is zingy, it's vibrant, it's all those kind of things, it's crisp. Whereas dried mint, which they use a lot in Middle Eastern Greek food, is much more earthy, but it adds like a depth that fresh mint wouldn't give you.
No, you're right, actually.
Because I've started using sometimes, every now and again, sage, which I know is for us was traditionally very sort of Christmassy sort of herb.
Wintry, I guess.
Yeah. I quite like adding it to things. I think it adds this level of like earthy depth that you don't get from other herbs. But I quite like a bit of it.
Excuse me. Well, interestingly, I think a lot of recipes, and I've noticed this, they're taking fresh sage leaves and just crisping them gently up. Maybe in a bit of butter or oil or something. I think and adding those to the top of something.
I think it's very Italian.
Yeah.
You crisp off the sage leaves on top of pasta and ravioli.
Yeah, and you do. And also things like calf's liver.
Lovely texture.
Steaks.
Bit of crispiness.
But we've got a lot growing in the garden.
So we have to use it up.
So we've got the mint
and the frying sage.
I've got tons of it.
Or burning sage.
I need to dry it or something. Because actually dried sage is really good.
Don't you burn sage when you get a new house? Is that not the tradition?
Oh,
isn't it burning sage?
Well, I don't know.
It's good luck. Yeah, I think it's good luck.
Oh, wow. Oh, it has. But again, it has an amazing flavour. But I think mint is definitely such a lovely, summery. You get it in your Pims, don't you?
Yeah. Well, you feel like summer has come if you've got mint in something.
And also you put it with strawberries.
Yeah.
Put it with fruit, savoury, salads. I mean, just so much. So
ice cream.
Ice cream.
Yeah, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot to look forward to.
I would say encourage anyone just to buy a fresh pot of mint.
So we've got lots to look forward to. We've got food festival seasons. We've got
Oh, yes, we have. Yeah.
So hopefully, it looks like we're actually going to have a very sunny bank holiday. So hopefully there'll be lots of time to listen to this podcast on your long weekend in the UK.
Before you light up the barbecue.
Exactly.
And tuck into your Pims with your pins on it and everything.
So we've done a lot in the last couple of weeks. So we've gone from Portugal to the Palace.
Oh, May has been good. May has been good.
Biscuits to mint. Excuse me, I thought I was going to sneeze then. I think I might. But we've got the love for summer food season coming.
Oh no, Charlie's going to sneeze. But anyway, so we want you to enjoy it. You can still find us in all the usual places. So we're on Spotify. We're on Apple. What are we on, Charlie?
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts. We are at Relish Lifestyle. Please share. Please, message us. Let's DM us.
Slide into our DMs.
Like to start a conversation. Absolutely. It's what's slide after it.
We've got, so we're at Relish Lifestyle on Instagram and TikTok as well. So we're going to keep enjoying our food over the next couple of weeks. I'm sure we'll be doing lots over the bank holiday and further into next week. So lots to look forward to.
Exactly. But more than anything, we always enjoy the simple pleasures of cooking, eating, and a good conversation. And we keep saying we want you to do that too. And we're all about
relishing life.